So, you guys, through a bit of guile, were able to glean some information from a less than supportive member of the Yuan Ti and learn of Rasnisi's location through some adequate stealth and sort of movement and even like your combat tactics. You're able to engage several enemies and not incur the wrath of this entire place. You then discovered Rasnisi, and he was also, to your surprise, he was not the tyrant you were expecting. He was weakened, shriveled, covered in bandages, his skin clearly visible with black veins, similar to what you've encountered with others with the death curse. His champion, he himself stuck around for a little while, engaged in a bit of spell back and forth with your resident wizard, and then subsequently disappeared out of a stepped on an arcane sigil and then disappeared at the end of the room. The resulting KJ's Life, thank you so much for the sub. That is so good. Really appreciated. The resulting fight, the fight continued, resulting in your victory. But Rasnisi was nowhere to be found afterwards. Now we are without our wizard, so just to make things a little easier, I am going to assume that he's basically, or parts of him not here. I'm going to assume control of him for a little while, which is something I don't normally do, but we'll just bear with me and we'll see how we go.
I think you should tank with the wizard tonight.
I agree.
I agree.
I completely agree.
I think he should walk out there and splash around into the water.
Yeah, he's gonna go to Hydroland Fun Park, just out in the east there, and
have a bath.
Yep, that'll be the end of that. Problem solved. The Balgura that he summons. So we'll do a little bit of a lead up to where before we start. So Aldir, after the battle, sort of walks in. That bloody owl walks in and sort of surmises the carnage that has befallen this room. He dismisses the Balgura with a gesture, who disappears into a plume of black smoke, and then proceeds to start to start to study this arcane sigil upon the ground. He says, clearly some kind of arcane teleportation device. I'll see what I can figure out. And he starts to sort of, not touching it, starts to meddle around, have a look at it a bit closer. And it's at this point too where you're all sort of just taking stock of the room, keeping an eye open. Barrett moves to the throne and starts sort of casing the place, looking for any form of danger. And it is at this point that Idrix notices that the champion that you're all facing, but he in particular, took a fair brunt of his damage with that crazy two-handed Kopesh of his. It catches his eye, and he bends down to pick it up. Idrix, at this point, I would like you to roll a charisma saving throw, please, as your hand grasps the hilt of the blade. That's exactly the number I was hoping to see.
That's exactly what I expected to show. Go team!
As you're... GL, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much. Wow, that's really generous, guys. Greatly appreciated. As you're all sort of casing the room, after a few moments, you know, Aldir is down in the south checking out this arcane sigil. Barrett, shield and spear in hand, is ever vigilant, looking around. You all notice that Idrix suddenly stiffens. His entire body stiffens, and he falls backwards to the floor, clutching this blade as he begins to convulse and shake. What do you do?
Well, I convulse and shake.
Yeah, you
I'm
convulse
not
and shake.
touching
Your hands down. You're set, mate. You're covered for the next couple of rounds. Don't worry about it. What does everyone else do? As their giant.
Can I knock
dragonborn-
the sword out of his hand with my shield?
Yep. So you want to try to make can you please make a? I understand what you're doing. It's not an attack, so we'll make a strength. Yeah, let's make a strength.
Contested or
Say again.
contested or
No, I'm just setting a DC. Make a strength, just a strength check for me, please, Barrett.
This will be fun.
All right. So your shield meets with the sword, and there is an almighty clang. And the sword and Idrix's arm does not move. It is as if you have struck a stone wall. Now, as the
I'm
first...
going to ask. Sorry, go.
Yep, so as the first lot of action is taking place, Idrix, you see, as you are suddenly amidst a massive battle, and you recognize the area that you're fighting in seems to be, they look like the streets of Omu. To your left and right are various citizen, like soldiers, Cholton warriors of all shapes, sizes, and men, women, armed with various kinds of weapons. And as you sort of look down and take stock of your own body, you suddenly realize that you're not you. You're actually grasping a familiar feeling weapon in your hand, but it doesn't look like the one that you just picked up. It is it feels like it looks like a curved longsword, similar to the Kopesh design, but smaller. And it is not your body. You're in you for starters, are quite female, and you are heavily armored in various kinds of plating and leather. But as you sort of take stock of of your movement and things like that, you look up and see a massive swarm of Yuan Ti charging down the street, and at the forefront of them is a Yuan Ti that is half snake, so a snake's body at the bottom, plated armor at the top, and a blazing longsword in his hand. You recognize this person as Raznisi, and the two armies clash in the streets as fighting ensues. And all the whilst, your body just kicks into action. You're just sort of along for the ride as you see this scene play out before you, as if in the first person. You take several Yuan Ti die by your sword. And as the fighting starts to thin out and spread throughout the streets, you are confronted by a massive Yuan Ti that you recognize as the Yuan Ti champion that you have just fought. A battle, a duel commences in the streets, and all the others leave you alone. The Yuan Ti push back against the Omuan soldiers, and you are left to face this beast on your own. And the battle is fought for what seems for many minutes before his blade finds your leg and you fall to the ground hamstrung. Before the scene ends, you see that you feel the tip of his blade resting against the nape of your neck, and you feel it slide between your neck and shoulder. Suddenly, there is a scream, and you realize that it's not you, but the sword in your hand. As your vision returns to see Barrett standing over you, and a woman's voice screaming in your head, saying, "I must get out. I must return to the princess. I've been trapped here too long. Asarak's forces are upon us. We must leave. We must leave. And you realize that, and your vision sort of clouds again, and you're standing, you as yourself are standing in a room with the Omuan soldier, the warrior woman that you were just previously experiencing her memories. And she looks at you and says, "You are not one of the snakes. Who are you? What brings you here? Speak quickly, or I will end your life." And you suddenly, even though like you're unarmed, but you feel like her words carry weight. Like she could technically end you if she. Like,
And this is in another room as well, not the room with everyone else, right?
No. So what everyone else is seeing as this is unfolding is Idrix is catatonic on the floor, sword gripped vice-like in his scaled hands. His eyes wide open and almost glazed over with a white sheen. His pupils are fading behind a cloud of some kind of energy. So,
and the armor, like, is she wearing armor or garb? Like the garb she's wearing is the same as the people I just fought beside.
The garb that she is wearing is the garb that, yes, absolutely, she is dressed as an Omuan warrior. The sword that you clutch, that you have picked up, seems oddly reminiscent of the one she now carries, except it seems a little shorter and a slightly different shape. But the sword speaks and demands that you identify yourself and why are you here. And she go for it.
I freeze for a moment, trying to sort of figure out really what's going on, and then I sort of look up and say, "I am Idrix Leldwash. I'm here to kill Raznisi and stop this curse."
Yep. She paces, studying you intently. And she... Alright. She,
You rolled the public, by the way.
Yep, that's fine. You can see that.
Okay.
She...
Just checking.
Yep, no worries. She sees... she studies you for a moment and chooses her words as if she's, like, formulating her words carefully. And she says, "The people around you, they are not from Chult, are they? And I see many dead before me, including that pig who wielded me and forced me to kill my own people. Are they also aligned with your quest to end Raznisi?"
Yes.
She sort of takes a moment and says, "You know, Raznisi is not the real issue here. He is just a pawn of Asarak. Asarak, the Lich, the one who has brought all this pain to my people and my land. He is the real threat. He controls all within the streets of Omu now. How do you plan to stop him also, or do you just wish to destroy Raznisi?"
Realizing that she's talking about current times now, not just the past.
Yes.
I'm going to say my job here is to destroy or kill the soulmonger. If he's in my way, then yes. If he's what's causing this, then yes.
She says, "The soulmonger." She says, "I do not know of this soulmonger, but I see souls. I see them depart. I wish my own would depart, but I am bound to this weapon. I no longer wish to be a tool of the enemy. I wish to return to my princess, to protect her once more." And she sort of says that in a contemplative tone, and then returns her gaze back to you and says, the sickness that affects so many also affects Raznisi. I have taken great pleasure in watching him shrivel and wither over the last few months. how do you plan to stop? How do you plan to stop this force?
I don't know yet. That's what the people I'm with are for.
She says, "Know that I could take possession of your body and flee this horrible place to return to my princess. But I will make a pact with you. I know that I would not survive long without allies. An army is what I once had, and an army was not enough to stop the forces of Rasnisi. But here you stand in his throne room, champion slain, fallen where I could not. I watched you. I wished I could help you, but I watched you all slay him. I will make you an offer, and I will offer you my service if you pledge your promise to me that you will help me in return. Do you wish to hear my bargain?"
What is it you want?
She says, "I want nothing more than I am bound to the bloodline of the royal Omu, the Omuan royal family. My name, by its namesake, is Bloodline. It is my purpose to protect the royalty of Omu, and there must be some still left, for I would blink out of existence should the royal line have fallen. So it gives me hope that finally I may be reunited, but I know that before I am reunited with the royal bloodline, I must help destroy this evil. I will give you my power. I will lend you my service. In return, once we are victorious, should we be victorious, you must take me to find the last, my princess, the last of our bloodline. She is not close. She is on this island. I can sense her presence, but I do not know how far away she is. Will you help me in this?"
I will see to it.
And she seems to know that you're telling the truth. You can feel a clear control over you. Like, even though you're sort of incorporeal, you feel that she has your very essence in her hands. With the promise made, Idrix's eyes suddenly unfog, and he takes a massive gasp of air, still clutching this two-handed sword. Only a few fleeting moments have passed. The time it's taken Barrett to reflexively attempt to swipe that blade out of your hand, till now, even though you've been talking for a couple of minutes. It to everyone else, it feels only about like 20 seconds at most. You regain control of your body, and you feel that as you grasp the sword in your hand, you watch as the blade changes, shortens, and becomes more like a longsword. Still has that curved effect, and in your mind you hear Bloodline say, I watched you wield your swords with great skill. Will this be to more of your satisfaction?" And she's actually referring to the size of the weapon now. The fact that you can easily sort of wield it in one hand, and or two hands, like if you want to go versatile, but it feels much more like a long sword and less like a great sword.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm going to give you a few stats that you can pop in, and then we can just keep RPing a little bit while you do that. You receive the blade, Bloodline, the Blade of Omu. It is a sentient weapon, obviously. It is a longsword +3 or a greatsword +3 that you can change with an action. The pommel of the blade has the portrait intricately carved of a young girl's face. You have no idea who it is. but the detail in it is amazing. And as you look at it, you see that on occasion the face and the eyes shift slightly. The bare bones of this sword, like the stats that you need to know, is that if you crit with this weapon on top of your normal attack dice, you can roll an additional dice damage depending on how you're wielding the sword. So if it's a longsword, D8; if it's versatile, D10; if it's a greatsword, an extra 2d6. And that is it for stats. Did you grab all
that's beautiful.
Did you grab all that?
I got it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So back to the game. Yeah, so you guys watch as Idrix suddenly comes to after, 15, 20 seconds of, shaking and convulsing on the ground. Idrix, you feel like you don't feel exhausted by any means, but you feel like an extra weight of sort of fatigue wash over you briefly, as if as you feel Bloodline's presence sort of begin to work with you as opposed to attempting to control you. And she is a presence in the back of your mind now. You can sense her there, but she is very much a passenger and not a driver. So, yeah. All right. So, you all stand... and whilst this... The other thing as well, whilst this is happening, as you sort of go to... as you are all sort of looking over in Idrix's direction, whilst he is... whilst the Battle of Wills was going on, as you both turn... as the room sort of normalizes, you notice Aldir is nowhere to be seen. Gone.
Fucking wizards.
His owl is also gone. All right. The room is yours, guys.
The owl gone kind of makes up for him being gone.
True. What would you guys like to do now?
Go after Raznisi. I'll stand up and I'll look around and be like, "Where is the wizard?"
And I think we should investigate this rune thing on the ground, since that's where Aliyah was when he disappears. Maybe we can work out how to work, although that's probably hard since none of us really have arcane.
Yeah, you have fun with that. I'll stay here. I'll stand here.
Bloodline also whispers to your in your head, Idrix. She says, "This room holds many secrets. I suggest a thorough investigation."
I'm going to move to here, and I'm going to kneel down and begin casting Prayer of Healing, which is a 10-minute.
Sure. All right. So Astrid's out while she begins her. Well, you see her sort of chant, holding her. She has her gauntleted holy symbol in hand, or her crossbow in hand, praying.
And the symbol.
Yeah,
either or other.
Yep. Okay. What about you guys? What about the rest of you guys? What would you like to do?
Make a thorough search of the place, then.
Should we not go after Raznisi?
We don't know where he went. He stepped into the portal, and since none of us can make it work, we need to... Maybe there's clues, or maybe the portal is actually activated with like a switch or a lever or something.
Is it deactivated at the moment? Is it?
It just appears to be a glowing rune on the ground.
Okay, so it could still be on. It might just be... But we don't really want to go head first in there, I don't think.
No. So yeah, I'll conduct a thorough search, and because we can always, and then let's
Yep.
see what we uncover.
No worries. So anyone who wishes to search the room whilst Astrid is casting, which will be a 10-minute duration, can roll some perception checks, please.
Alright, cool. I'll take 10.
Wednesday.
Hey,
Hey, nice. Very good.
Hold on, so, is the wizard gone because he's not here, or the wizard's gone because he's gone?
Yes. That's all I'm saying.
All of the above.
do we have any? Does anyone have any? I mean, he's the guy that has all the augury spells. So,
Yeah.
do we have any kind of tracking or anything that we can use to get an indication of where he went? I've just had a look through my list and I've got nothing really.
The only
let me see.
the only thing that is left on the ground is a couple of bloody footprints as he's unashamedly waded through the corpses and taken a knee over it near the teleporter. There is no other trace of where he has gone.
Ah, so there's a good chance he's fallen in or he's in. So he was last seen at the teleporter. is what
Correct.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the
So
few moments that it
that's-
took you to take notice of Idrix and look back, he vanished.
Should we not jump in there after him? He's not as strong on his own.
Can't do anything for 10
Yeah.
minutes.
I think no. Well, having known, if I
You can retcon
thought
if you
that
want,
he had, yeah, I will, because if I had a thought that he had like fallen in or been dragged into the portal, we'd definitely go after him. I would have thought.
I don't think it's going to work, but we can try. Just because it's
I'll
gone,
ask,
I don't think it's
I'll
going
ask
to do it.
Bloodline if she knows how this works. Have you seen how this works before?
she,
You know where it leads.
she says it leads to many rooms.
I'll be talking out loud as well.
Yeah. And Bloodline says to you, it leads to many rooms. Rosnisi and his champion, and she said she sort of refuses to say his name. And she says Rosnisi and his champion would often use these runes to traverse the distances in the Fane of the Night Serpent. I do not know where they all go, but I've seen them used with great frequency. I don't know how they're used. I was not. There was no verbal. She says they'd never said anything. They never touched anything. They stepped upon the platform, and then they appeared in a different section.
When we were in the room to the left with those big snake heads and the blood,
Yep.
I don't remember if we, the players, knew this or if our characters knew this. On the left-hand side, the western side, did we scout that and see that there were entities in there?
So
Yeah. I went
okay.
up there, and there was probably like 10 guys up there.
yeah. So
Okay, cool.
Astrid
It was like
definitely went up
like
the
a
ramp.
marketplace.
Yeah, went up the ramp, had a quick look in, opted against it because it was quite busy. You guys can probably see that there is a rune in that room. As players, you can see
in
it.
the central.
However,
Yep.
it is actually quite high, and no one has
I
actually,
would've seen it.
as your characters, do not know that rune is there. No one has.
Would I have
explored
seen
that.
it from the?
That-
Would I have
that's
seen
fine.
it from where the gong is, or is
Yep.
that not as high?
It's not as high. You're right. It's not as high. So
So the
yeah,
gong's lower.
the gong is about 10 feet lower than the dais
Okay, so
on
you've
the
got like
top of it.
that. You've got like that pool with the water, with the blood in it.
Yes.
That is about as high as the gong, and then the snakes are on top of that.
Yeah, so the gong overlooks the pool and the snake heads, but atop the snake heads
Overlooks,
you
yeah.
cannot see. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Given that the sword doesn't indicate that there are multiple users of that portal, I don't want to go jumping on that randomly. What I do think, though, is we can follow Rasnusi. Well, not follow, sorry. We can have a best guess as to where he's gone, which is to reinforcements. And we know that there are reinforcements to the west.
Yep.
Can we back, as a decision for the characters, do you guys want to backtrack and go and investigate that and see if they've been
Well,
roused or alerted?
If we're not gonna take immediate action after Aldea, then we should search a room because the sword told us to.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do that
Like if
after
we're not,
the-
if we're not going after him instantly, then there's no hurry to do anything. Is what I mean. Like unless you want to chase Resnisi.
Well, the thing is, we don't actually know where he went. So if we run off into the rest of the compound, we're just running around in the rest of the compound, and
I think we should.
I want to know if
switch
there's
back
something.
to a defensive, approach
Mindset.
rather than just charging head first because we
Yep.
don't know where the hell we're going to end up.
So
Okay, I'll.
I'm also worried that if we jump onto it,
Yep,
since
go
we don't know how it works, we
You might
actually
have
end
one
up
person
in
go one
4
way, one
different
person go another.
locations.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly right.
good.
And then
thinking.
be like, ah, fuck.
And what's the symbol on there? Is it a snake or is it just a rune?
I think it's just a rune. It does look a bit snaky, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
You,
Doesn't seem to
yeah,
represent anything.
not that you're aware of. Yeah.
Just an arcane rune. Okay.
So all three of you sort of look around and start searching the room, and to the west of the throne, you find a small latch against the wall here. Like in
So
this
I'll
direction.
start channeling again.
Meow,
reset
meow,
my 10
meow,
minutes.
meow, meow. Yep, no, you're right.
No.
It takes about...
Can we
Go on.
determine, without yanking the latch and unleashing the boiling lava that is sitting above us or some bullshit? Because fuck this
It's
campaign.
the Hydra wrestle.
It's the Hydra whistle, exactly. It's the
I
fucking
opened the-
Hydra bell. You
Thought
ring
of
the
a sex
bell
dungeon.
and the Hydra comes in looking for dinner. So can we determine, without pulling on it or anything, can we make a look around to see if we can work out what it does? Is that something that we could discern?
Yep, so you've found the door, no problem. What you'll need to do to determine how
Door
it
or
works
latch?
latch. What you need to do to determine how it works is roll an investigation check.
Engineering check.
Engineering.
check.
Keep your Starfinder pants on, please. Even though,
Oh, they're off.
yeah.
My D&D pants are on.
Sorry, what
Bravo.
check are we rolling?
Investigation,
Okay.
if you wish to. Yep. So further investigation of this area shows you that this latch is definitely connected to a very small seam in the wall, and you can determine that this door swings inward. It is a door, roughly about 6 foot high and about 5 feet wide, built into a seamless block of stone. Into a block of stone that matches the rest of the sort of the wall perfectly. So it's almost impossible to spot. And you guys have done well.
We should probably wait for Astrid to finish her prayer of mending.
Yep.
before
So
we start pulling handles, but once that's done, we'll
it goes off.
we'll do it.
So roll your dice, Astrid.
Ah, sweet. I'll just cast it at the level that it is.
Yep.
So, it's a bit of a shit roll. So it's actually 2d8 plus
Yep.
whiz, so it's 12.
12. So everyone receives 12 healing. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Add 12 HPs to your characters, guys.
Is overhealing a thing in this game? Like if you...
No.
No.
Okay, cool. Just checking.
Temp hit points are a thing in this game, but they're an actual thing that's called out. Like you gain X temporary hit points, like
Yeah.
the T that I make.
Yeah. Understood.
No worries. All right, cool. So that goes off. You two are able. You're all able to determine that there is a secret door to the north. This direction here.
Well, we'll shield up when everybody's ready.
Yeah, lock and load.
I'll shield up and I'll push the door open.
All right. Idrix,
I'll stand in front of it.
ready to rock and roll?
Yep.
All
You
right.
push or pull?
Push.
It's it in.
Inward. Oh, like in, not
Yeah.
into the room. Inward, like.
That's how. True.
Oh, yeah. Push. It's a push door.
So it's outward.
Can we move
I'll
out?
I'll undo the latch
Or
first.
it's
and
into the
then I'll
next room.
push it in. push it, nothing happens. God damn it! Okay, I undo the
USB
latch
drive.
and then I push it in.
Yep. So as you
I'll turn it around and try the other angle then.
Yep. Okay. So I'll get you guys to step in. Just move two squares ahead, Barrett. All right. Everyone else pile in.
There's fuck knuckle.
Yep.
I'll move one more so people can get in.
All
Where
right.
is it? Sorry, no. Okay, I can see it now.
Yep. Let's just pile in. As you sort of burst in the room in formation, Rasnisi sort of with one hand holds himself up against a pillar. With his other hand, he shakily holds out his flaming greatsword to you. His breath is rasping, and he is he sort of looks at you all, still sneering, but you can clearly see that he is in a weakened state. And he says, "You have come to face the master, but you will not triumph. You must. You will have to kill me to get the last cubes."
Sure. I'll attack.
Okay.
You asked for it.
Am I allowed to move or wait for initiative?
Okay. Roll initiative. Hang on.
Select your icons.
Let me just clear the initiative first. Ah, shit.
Nobody's rolled.
Alright,
Oh, Paul has.
I did, sorry.
it's alright.
You can just type it in again, bro. Hey!
Fuck.
If you roll again, Bull, and then you can replace your number. You can replace whatever you roll with your number, 'cause you'll appear on the sheet.
Ha! Nailed it.
Self 20 again.
Nice work.
Just do that
Well, that's
every
one way
time.
to do it.
It's way easier.
Oh, fucking
Jesus
you
Christ,
jokes.
dude.
Are you all in?
Intercepted.
What's your dex lock?
It's up to you guys who goes first. You don't have to worry about decks. You can just choose.
Yeah, you go first, man.
I haven't even got Aldir here to make me feel better about my low initiative.
All right. Idrix, what would you like to do?
I'm
Kill
gonna
it.
run straight up to him using the new sword and just how's this gonna taste? And then start making some slashes.
All right, cool. So as you get within range, he takes a swing at you.
I'm gonna rage as a bonus action as well.
Yeah, sure thing.
No, actually, no, never mind. I won't.
Nope.
What?
He feebly attempts to attack
Wait,
you.
I got 3 left. Yeah, I will.
He feebly attempts to attack you, and you just bat it to the side. And you hear Bloodline shout in your head. She screams, "For Omu!"
Weak, Raz. Weak.
That's it. That's a hit. Sorry, the first one is a miss. So, second one's a hit. Third one's a hit. Alright, 15. Yep.
And add 4 damage to that too for raging.
Yep. So, cool. That is. Hang on. So that'll be 6. Cool. Yeah, cuts land easily. He's black blood pours from multiple wounds as he, as he just reels from every attack. Nice, man.
That's it for me.
Bull, your turn.
No.
No, it's your turn. You're higher.
Okay.
Oh, did you?
All
I
right.
know. Yeah, Bull elected for you to go first, Barrett.
Yeah, I said I'd rather you go first. I want
Yeah.
you to get up there and hit him before I do.
Barrett.
All right. I'll move to here, and I will make a series of attacks.
Okay.
So
It's a hit. It's a hit.
Noise.
It's a hit. Jesus, dude. Solid.
all right,
Shit, not even one crit. That's pretty weak for me,
one
mate.
crit. It's pretty fucking terrible.
All right.
35.
Yep. How do you want to do it?
Stab, and and finally just flat shield straight to the face.
So, yeah.
Side
you
of
go-
shield, as in.
Yeah. So he gets flung back with onto his like pile of cushions there, and like he starts to writhe upon the ground, and the last words that he says, "Master, I have failed," and then like withers and falls, and Idrix, what you see Rasnisi's soul, so through bloodline, you actually see Rasnisi's soul hover above his body for a moment, and then just get dragged under the ground rapidly. Poof, gone. And the look of surprise upon his face when you see the actual you see the clear surprise on his face when his soul gets reefed below, and he says, "The soulmonger? No!" And then whoosh, gone. And he says it with like almost clear surprise in his voice. And the room falls silent.
Did anyone else see that?
No one else saw that.
Drug at you. See what?
I just saw his soul leave his body.
And you heard it as well.
Yeah.
Just a raised eyebrow. Weary.
I think the soulmonger is below us.
Well, I'm not digging.
All right. Okay, so yeah, his rotting body sort of lies before you. There is, as you can see, treasure about you and a few personal effects.
He said he had cubes.
I'm gonna stand near the doorway.
Yep, sure.
Oh well, yeah, he has cubes, doesn't he?
Well, there's
I'll help look for
piles of treasure in this room, so you'll have to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be looking for cubes.
Yep.
I don't need
Can I have
anything
a-
else.
There is.
Can I have a look at his workspace? Can I inspect his desk
Yep.
area in detail?
Yep, you find upon his desk you find one of the cubes. There is several items that of note and quality that you can see here. There is you sort of go through one of the chests in the corner. There is a pouch of gemstones, and there's 30 gems inside it. You estimate that each of those gems is worth about 50 gold each. There is there is a Frogometh statue that like quite small, fit in the palm of your hand, that has 3 amethyst gemstones for eyes. That appears to be worth a significant amount of money.
That's right. We don't have our wizard with us, so I guess
And-
I'll carry this load.
And nestled in the other chest are the remaining 2 cubes.
As I'm looking around as well, I'm gonna speak to Bloodline and say, "Is there anything of yours or your people's here that I should take?"
she says, with a regrettable tone, says, "No, they have taken everything. Nothing is redeemable until this evil is cleansed from Omu."
Was it 30 gems?
30 gems worth 50 gold apiece.
Yep, and 3 amethysts
Worth 100 gold apiece. Yep.
worth 100 gold.
Can I dismiss honor? And I'm a bit wary, but I'll pick up this sword.
Oh, yep.
Charisma save.
No.
Well, that's something I could probably do, but
Honor is honor is dismissed, and you pick up a longsword that when it clanks to the ground, the flames burn, extinguish, and
good. So I didn't set the place on
No.
fire. Handy.
And Emmy says, as you pick it up, she says, "Oh, I could use this. I could definitely use this. Would you like me to? Would you like me to absorb its power?"
That's just. I'll say I'll just martyr. Now, not yet. Keep your pants on.
She says, "Well, you get everything. When is it my turn to get something? I want the sword.
chill
Give me
out.
the sword." Fine.
Relax. Damn it.
Fine.
Or I'll put you back in the rock I found you.
Yep. She just sort of buzzes around your head and disappears with a humph. Yep. So you receive a longsword. It's a flame brand longsword. Let me see. I think I've got it here somewhere.
Every time somebody said, if you say that, the first thing I
if
thought
it's
of.
from the DMG, it's Flame Tongue.
Flame tongue. That's what I'm thinking.
Because I was going to say flame brand, I was like, I just thought of that sword from Guild Wars.
Oh,
It's called a flame brand.
here we go. Flame tongue. It's a flame tongue longsword. These flames shed bright light with a 40-foot radius and dim light for another 40 feet, so it's a decent light source. While the sword is ablaze, it deals an additional 2d6 fire damage to its bonus. So you don't get any pluses to hit, but if you allow Emmy to absorb it, your honor will do additional fire damage. She will take its power.
The other character question is, does Bull have do you have magic? Or you've got magic swords, or
Both his swords, Nemi and Scholar, are +1 longswords. Longsword and saber, so like a scimitar.
Yeah.
But
do you want that? Do you want it, dude? Is it something that you're keen on?
I don't think so. Is it
Okay.
actually better than what I've got?
it's it'll be harder to hit. It'll do a little bit more damage. And
It would have to be amazing for me to put down these weapons. I
Yeah.
am very attached to them.
yep. And that's the other thing. It doesn't. They're not your swords, so to speak. But
All right.
you're
Well,
entitled to
after
it
a
if you
brief
wish.
consultation with Bull, I'll agree to let Nemi eat the sword because that's what she wants to do. So
Munch.
she wants to absorb its power, which I think I need to spend a long rest doing anyway. So we'll have to wait.
Yeah, she says if you let me, I'll start working on it now. It'll take a bit of time for me to eat it.
Will I still be able to summon you in the meantime?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Well then, fine. And I'll just strap it to my back.
Yeah. She starts to spin orbit the hilt of the sword as it's on your back. And you can feel like her presence start to sort of change somewhat over time. All right. So this will be for Prosser, and I'll just narrate the next part, and then we'll move on. So, Aldair. So previously, Aldair begins to inspect the rune he takes out his journal and he starts to make a few choice notes. He copies down the rune, and he looks down to his book. He looks over his shoulder when he hears Idric's collapse. Thinks really nothing of it, knowing that you're all there and there's a cleric nearby and everything, and returns to his studies. He looks down into his book, and suddenly the book is covered with ants, and he sort of quickly sort of moves away, like almost goes to drop the book, sort of reflexively, and looks at the portal, and before him a withered, grotesque hand comes out of the portal and yanks him through it instantaneously. He falls for quite a while and loses all sense of time and place and space. And after what seems like an eternity, he starts to hears a guttural woman's voice. And she says, "This is one of the ones that threatens our lord." And then he hears another sort of high-pitched voice say, "Oh, we could use this one. We could change him. We could make some more of him. We could put him to work." And then another grotesque, guttural voice says, "You too quiet. I'll decide what we do with this one. But for now, take his tongue, take his hands. Let him cast no more spells. Let us conduct our work in peace and quiet. He talks too much." All the while, Aldair is just frozen, unable to see or feel, or unable to see these the bodies behind these three voices. But across his skin, he feels the crawling of insects and the prickling of needles and the burning of iron as he tries to scream and no sound comes out. He loses consciousness in an absolute fit of agony. And we'll get back to you guys. Hope you're watching, Prost.
Ha, Frost, no arms.
Right, so yeah, you guys are back in the room. You've had a brief discussion. There is gold and gems and stuff that litter the floor. If you spent an hour in here, you could probably pick up every little thing, but you would be completely encumbered. Like, there is thousands of coins here. The choice gems and stuff that you've collected are small and easily packed, so it's no big deal there. You have the 3 cubes. You now have all the cubes in your possession. I know Aldair had the cubes. We'll just say you've got them for now.
He can't hand them to us.
That's right, because he has no hands. DMing's fun.
Hey, how do you?
We want,
Lend us a hand with this. Ha ha.
we beat Resnisi. High fives all around.
That'll teach you to go on. That'll teach you to go on a shift.
If you need help, just ask.
Yeah. Oh.
And this is why everyone's too afraid to cancel D&D.
That's why you don't take a week off.
Yep. Several weeks off. Cool.
Several fingers.
Thanks, GL, and thanks for the sub too, man. Greatly appreciated. All right. So yeah, you're in the lair of your enemy. You have the last of the cubes. You still have an element of non-detection. I won't say surprise, but non-detection. What would you like to do?
Let's get out of here.
Sorry, I got to ask. I'm going to be that guy. I've actually forgotten what we're actually getting the cubes for.
That's all right.
We've been in here for a while now, and I actually can't remember why we're hunting cubes.
So
They're the key.
The cubes
Key
are
what?
the cubes are the key to potentially where the soulmonger lies.
Their keys, Bolt. They unlock something.
Do we know where the lock is?
Yes.
So there was a scratching on a wall or something that said the keys, the cubes are the key, or something to that
Yeah.
effect. I
It
can't remember
said
exactly.
verbatim, the puzzle cubes are the key.
There you go.
You also
So
you also learned of a location to the Tomb of the Nine Gods, which is what the puzzle cubes are potentially for. But that is out in the streets of Omu. It's not in here, and I'm pretty sure it was the Fane
it was
wizard.
up the top or something. You said.
The woman whose face was half aged and half young, as a bargaining tool, gave you the location of the Tomb of the Nine Gods along with the cubes that she had before Barrett promptly executed her. And you went around and grabbed all the few cubes that you did from the shrines that you investigated. You then received the cubes from the Fane wizard, and you've received the last 3 cubes now from Wasnisi's treasure hoard.
All right. So I can't leave Prosser behind, Aldir behind, sorry, because he is very favoured by my mistress, and also he has the rest of the cubes.
Yeah, so
That's what we did.
So we
for
gotta go
all
find him.
intents and purposes, I am going to, because he's actually absent and could be absent potentially for several weeks, I'm going to assume that you guys have the cubes so that the game can play on.
So before he fell into the hole, he said, "I'll be back," and he dropped
the bag of holding.
he dropped his bag of holding on the
You know
ground
what?
next to him.
I'm happy with that. So his bag of holding is the only thing that was left on the ground, along with his journal, I'll say.
Just be careful when you open it up, because there's some shit in there.
I put my hand in there. I put my hand in the bag and I turn undead.
The bag is suddenly has so much more space.
1,000 souls cry out.
Yeah, just suddenly silenced. Yeah, so you know what? I actually like that idea. His bag of holding was left, as was his journal. That was the only two things that were left. That makes much more sense.
So can I do a search of Raghead here?
Yep. So
He's quite literally wearing a rag on his head.
he is. He's
by the way.
covered head to toe in bandages. He's in the late stages, you would imagine, of the death curse. He's emaciated, haggard.
Very late stages now. Hi-oh.
Yep. He's emaciated, haggard. He was barely able to hold himself up after only receiving a few superficial sort of attacks early on in the battle. Upon his person, he has several pieces of ornate jewelry worth approximately 300 gold. He has golden braces that are adorned with different gems. Aside from that, he's wearing nothing else of importance.
And for Prost, when he gets back, he was a wizard, does he have a spellbook? Because Prost
No.
always asks for the spellbook.
He does not have any form of spellbook.
Alright, cool. Alright then. My dudes.
Yep.
Are we done
Off we
here?
go. Yeah.
Alright.
Yep. So we just... So we're not
Let's
looking
see.
for Aldir at all then?
Aldia will be back.
Before he gets back. That'd be fun.
I've got to go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
Yep.
And he's disappeared.
For continuity reasons, I understand it, Bull, and I appreciate the fact that you want to do that. It makes sense, but I am removing
go
him
with it.
from play. I'm removing him from play.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, understood. Not a problem. All right, let's get out of here. Let's go find the Temple of Locks. I forget.
Temple of the
Nine
Kings.
gods.
Temple of Nine Gods. Yeah.
All right. Can we start moving?
Yeah. Just stay there for a second, please.
Let's try and go back the way we came.
Yep. Yeah, we've opened up the door
Yep. Go for it. So yeah, step back
leading
through,
into the cavern. So
and you can attempt to go the way you came.
Do we have to stop at certain points for you to roll encounters or anything, or just?
Just make another stealth check for me, please.
Yep.
Oof.
All of juice. Not bad. I got a 25 there that I can see.
Dice tonight.
One
Who are we
more.
missing?
Idrix.
me, character
No.
sheet.
Oh, the icons.
Oh,
Are we missing icons?
I
Astrid.
No, that's
yeah,
just right.
still-
Nasta's not with us.
Oh, yeah.
There he is. Cool.
Okay. In your hastened, you are making a little bit more noise than what you'd like to, but in your hastened efforts to leave, you continue.
I'll start explaining how the sword, like what happened. So
Blah,
that's my
blah, blah,
stop.
blah, blah.
I'll be talking.
She directs you, like, as you're moving out. She explains that the Yuan Ti here made a promise with Asarak to if they defended Asarak's domain after his goal was brought to fruition, he was going to in turn help the Yuan Ti bring forth Dendar the Night Serpent, which is their god, to devour the earth, basically, to devour the material realm. She explains that she does not know what Asarak's end goal was, but the Soulmonger is definitely a part of it. She also
Do we know who Asarak is?
No, she explains that Asarak was a powerful lich that led enabled the Yuan Ti to attack Omu, and when he came, the great terrors, the great horrors that were subjected to the Omu people were at his hands through Raznisi. Azarak destroyed a lot of the majority of the Omuan people, enslaved the rest, and destroyed the 9 trickster gods.
Fuck.
She Bloodline only saw Asarak for a moment, and it was a terrifying a vision of pure terror.
9 trickster god. Okay, so the 9 things that were in the story that we've collected the cubes for.
Asarak
Yeah.
destroy. Yeah, she says Asarak destroyed them all.
Well, that's not good. I'm gonna go home now.
Right, can we keep moving? Or
Yep.
are we?
Move into the next room. That's fine.
Yep. Cool.
So yeah, she would have been explaining this as you sort of move through this area.
Down here, wasn't it?
Yep. And you make a beeline straight out.
Yeah, we can get out this way.
Yeah. All in all, you're probably only in this place for about close to maybe
Oh,
less than
there's
an
our friend.
Oh,
That's all
sorry,
right.
we didn't go. We didn't
No,
go
no,
down that
she's-
this way, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. She's gone.
We were
She's
that.
long
That's
gone.
it. We weren't there long at all.
Yeah, she just waddled out. Yeah, so all in all, you guys weren't in here for long at all. You're able to get out of here using the secret tunnel and back to
I have wall hacks.
yeah, back to the surface. All right. So, like all good plans, you've cut my session down by about 20 minutes. So I've only got a little bit of extra stuff planned for here, and a lot of it will be ad-libbed. So
I'm going to spend our journey outwards explaining everything about the sword,
yep,
telling them what I saw, who it is.
yep.
So as we come out into the light, I suggest to the party that before we go off and do anything else, we return to the tree
Yep, 100%.
Agreed.
to rest,
All right.
because I've got no hit dice left.
Yep, cool.
Stealthily return to a tree.
Yep, you guys make it there with
We
no.
haven't been back there at all. So
No, you haven't. So absolutely, you guys make it back there with no incident whatsoever.
Oh, fantastic.
So you're over here.
Boing.
Yeah, the
Take a short rest.
yeah,
So where on this map was the place that we got
And
told
did
we
you
had to
get
go
hit
to?
dice back from a short or a long?
long.
You get half your maximum from a long.
So you were told, Bull, if you zoom out, you were told that this area up here was the entrance to the Tomb of the Nine Gods.
Just zooming it now. 1 second. So can you do it
So
again
like
for
a
me?
cave. There's a cave there in the
Yeah.
rock.
Ah, okay, cool. So it is here.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
I thought we were leaving.
No.
Do we do a short or a long rest, guys?
Long.
Yeah, there's no reason
Long
not to do a long
rest.
one.
Yeah.
No advantage to like we're not under any threat here. We're pretty. This is like this.
Yep.
Safe zone.
So,
West
So,
Hub,
I-
isn't it? Pretty
do I
much.
put- All my my hit dice goes back to the total now, right?
You regain half your
Yeah.
maximum, so we're level 8, so you'd regain 4.
And I already had 1, so I'm at 5.
yep, you gain all your hit points back. And upon your
Yeah.
arrival as well, you're greeted by Azaka, Dragonbait, and Artis? No, yes. And,
Simba.
yeah,
Oh, I forgot about him.
yep.
Let's kill him and take
No,
his
I think-
ring.
I'm just trying to remember. I think he actually left.
yours.
Hey, Viridian, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Sorry, you're greeted by Azaka. Artis and Dragonbait are nowhere to be found.
Pussy.
Azaka basically tells you that she believed it was better if they left Omu and made their way back towards Fort Vengeance. Artis and Dragonbait agreed with that because the proximity to such evil will be the ring may draw them in, and Iku's power is still growing at this point, quite literally. So they agreed to leave. It's only Azaka that is here patrolling this area, and she's elated to see you all return.
Is the tree larger than when we left? Noticeably larger, I mean?
Not noticeably, but you do feel that as you sort of pass into its threshold, you feel that warmth and that protection, almost tangible as you pass through the field, and you feel like your mind and your strains and your aches are all sort of put to ease, and you feel like you can easily rest here. So what I will do with this long rest is actually provide you with all of your hit dice back. So if you've got extras to put on, just stack them up, and that is a consequence, condition of resting near the tree.
Magic tree.
Azaka says that she's spent a fair amount of time scouting and also counting patrols. She was able to run interference with a patrol that was close to closing in on you guys, and she says that she over the last few days, Bull, she is actually able to almost sense your presence if she is within a certain distance from you. So she knew you were headed back before you were she knew you were coming, basically.
Can I sense her at all?
Yes, you can, but nowhere near as strong. Like when you are within her presence, you can almost like a sixth sense of how she's feeling, and sort of without, like, she's still quite sort of a stoic woman, but you can see you can feel that she's happy that you're back, and feel the relief to see you all, and it's quite a innate feeling, because you haven't felt like for the longest time.
Yeah.
Felt, and I'll just leave it as felt, like you
Yeah,
have been
I was gonna
quite,
say, that's a fair statement.
yeah. So like this is quite a foreign feeling for you, and you're sort of processing it. You don't sort of show any outward sign of how it's affecting you, but it's quite a unique sort of sensation.
Boner.
She says, so tell me what is, how was your incursion into Omu? Were you successful? Can we leave?
Not quite yet. We've got all the cubes.
Rasnisi is going to live on the farm. We're going to rest up here, and then we're going into the Temple of Night.
9 gods.
Fuck, I was close.
No, that's good.
There's only 9 of them to remember.
Gold star for
So
effort,
go
dude. So
To wrap this up, we should be going soon.
she says the stories of this place and the evil that came here is, you know, it is told to frighten children at night. If this is to be the last effort to remove this evil from Omu, then I bid you all the highest blessings of my people. And she sort of just puts a hand to her head and sort of makes a gesture of some sort of religious gesture that you don't recognize, but you believe that she's like essentially.
Oh, do I recognize it?
It's a Cholton thing. You might have seen it around in the streets, but you recognize it immediately as some form of blessing. Like she's trying to wish you the best of luck, basically, in her own way. The night goes without any incident, and as you all sleep, you all, in various stages of the night, you all, as you're resting under the tree, you all drift off to sleep, and it's something that you don't control. You all begin to fall asleep, sort of very, almost consecutively, one by one by one. It is a fitful night's sleep, but as the rest is almost in conclusion, you're treated to like a visual of this area. Like you feel like you're about to wake up. You can see the tree, and you can see your friends all around you. Everyone is here, including the ones you have lost. Bernice is here. Grace is even here, and it is a feeling, a shared feeling of joy. But you all sort of turn, and in the distance, you see, in the far distance, you see a robed figure wielding a staff with a skull mounted upon it. And you all stop and look, and that feeling of joy and happiness just suddenly vanishes, and the world becomes dark around you, and and the world becomes dark around you. And this figure suddenly moves forward, not walking, but just rushing forward, and stops to stand before you all. And you see in its hideous form, it's a face of no muscle or skin, a pale skull adorned with a massive, lavish-looking headdress resting upon a staff with a screaming skull at its top. You all wake suddenly, with this vision still sort of in the last parts of your waking mind, and you hear the challenge. You hear the words, "Come, adventurers, come to my tomb. I am waiting. It has been so long." And then the vision sort of fades out, and you all wake up having shared this vision.